So I was out for a walk yesterday, and I didn't realize this until a few months ago, but you can actually listen to audiobooks on Spotify. Normally, I listen to all my audiobooks on Audible or even YouTube, but as a Spotify user, it's very convenient to know that you can also listen to them on Spotify itself. Now, you only have a certain amount of hours of free listening, even though it's not really free because you have to have Spotify Premium, I believe. Not 100% sure on that. I think you need to have Spotify Premium to actually have access to audiobooks, but I could very well be wrong on that. But they only give you a certain amount of hours, and if you go past your certain amount of hours, you have to pay a little bit extra, I think. But it's worth it if you're a big audiobook listener like myself. They have an incredible collection of audiobooks, a very, very wide range of audiobooks. So check it out if you're a Spotify user. But yesterday I was out for a walk and I was listening to As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. It's a very, very good book. It's a very short read or listen. I listened to this book on a 1.2 or 1.5 speed, and I got through it in like 30 minutes. I think the whole book, if you listened on normal speed, would take you about an hour or so, maybe a little bit less than that. But if you do what I did, just listen to it on 1.5 speed or something like that, you can get through it pretty quickly. And if you don't have Spotify, you can listen on Audible. I'm sure it's there, or on YouTube, or you can just pick up this book and read it hard copy the old-fashioned way. But in this recording, what I'm going to do is read from one of the chapters that resonated the most with me, which is called Visions and Ideals. If you've listened to my podcast before, you know I've read from different books in the past. I've read from The Mastery of Love by Don Miguel Ruiz. I've read from A New Earth and Stillness Speaks, both by Eckhart Tolle. So what I'm going to do is read from this chapter, and then I'll come back and I'll have a little bit of commentary on my biggest takeaways from this chapter specifically. Visions and Ideals. The dreamers are the saviors of the world. As the visible world is sustained by the invisible, so men, through all their trials and sins and sordid vocations, are nourished by the beautiful visions of their solitary dreamers. Humanity cannot forget its dreamers. It cannot let their ideals fade and die. It lives in them. It knows them in the realities which shall one day see and know. Composer, sculptor, painter, poet, prophet, sage. These are all the makers of the afterworld, the architects of heaven. The world is beautiful because they have lived. Without them, laboring humanity would perish. He who cherishes a beautiful vision, a lofty ideal in his heart, will one day realize it. Columbus cherished a vision of another world, and he discovered it. Copernicus fostered the vision of a multiplicity of worlds and a wider universe, and he revealed it. Buddha beheld the vision of a spiritual world, of stainless beauty and perfect peace, and he entered into it. Cherish your visions, cherish your ideals, cherish the music that stirs in your heart, the beauty that forms in your mind, the loveliness that drapes your purest thoughts, for out of them will grow all delightful conditions, all heavenly environment. Of these, if you but remain true to them, your world will at last be built. To desire is to obtain, to aspire is to achieve. Shall man's basest desires receive the fullest measure of gratification, and his purest aspirations starve for lack of sustenance? Such is not the law. Such a condition of things can never obtain. Ask and receive. Dream lofty dreams, and as you dream, so shall you become. Your vision is the promise of what you shall one day be. Your ideal is the prophecy of what you shall at last unveil. The greatest achievement was at first and for a time a dream. The oak sleeps in the acorn, the bird waits in the egg, and in the highest vision of the soul, a waking angel stirs. Dreams are the seedlings of realities. Your circumstances may be uncongenial, but they shall not long remain so if you but perceive an ideal and strive to reach it. You cannot travel within and stand still without. Here is a youth hard pressed by poverty and labor, confined to long hours in an unhealthy workshop, unschooled, and lacking all the arts of refinement. But he dreams of better things. He thinks of intelligence, of refinement, of grace and beauty. He conceives of, mentally, builds up, an ideal condition of life. The vision of a wider liberty and a larger scope takes possession of him. Unrest urges him to action, and he utilizes all his spare time and means, small though they are, to the development of his latent powers and resources. Very soon so altered has his mind become that the workshop can no longer hold him. It has become so out of harmony with his mentality that it falls out of his life as a garment is cast aside, and with the growth of opportunities which fit the scope of his expanding powers, he passes out of it forever. Years later, we see this youth as a full-grown man. We find him a master of certain forces of the mind, which he wields with worldwide influence and almost unequaled power. In his hands he holds the cords of gigantic responsibilities. He speaks, and lo, lives are changed. Men and women hang upon his words and remold their characters, and sun-like he becomes the fixed and luminous center around which innumerable destinies revolve. He has realized the vision of his youth. He has become one with his ideal. And you too, youthful reader, you will realize the vision, not the idle wish of your heart, be it base or beautiful, or a mixture of both. For you will always gravitate towards which you secretly most love. Into your hands you will be placed the exact results of your own thoughts. You will receive that which you earn, no more, no less. Whatever your present environment may be, you will fall, remain, or rise with your thoughts, your vision, your ideal. You will become as small as your controlling desire, as great as your dominant aspiration. In the beautiful words of Stanton Kirkham Davis, you may be keeping accounts, and presently you shall walk out of the door that for so long has seemed to you the barrier of your ideals, and shall find yourself before an audience. The pen still behind your ear, the ink stains on your fingers, and then there shall pour out the torrent of your inspiration. You may be driving sheep, and you shall wander to the city. Bucolic and open mouth shall wander under the intrepid guidance of the Spirit into the studio of the Master, and after a time he shall say, I have nothing more to teach you. And now you have become the Master, who did so recently dream of great things while driving sheep. You shall lay down the saw in the plain to take upon yourself the regeneration of the world. The thoughtless, the ignorant, and the indolent, seeing only the apparent effects of things and not the things themselves, talk of luck, of fortune, and chance. Seeing a man grow rich, they say, how lucky he is. Observing another become intellectual, they exclaim, how highly favored he is. And noting the saintly character and wide influence of another, they remark, how chance aids him at every turn. They do not see the trials and failures and struggles which these men have voluntarily encountered in order to gain their experience. Have no knowledge of the sacrifice they have made, of the undaunted efforts they have put forth, of the faith they have exercised, that they might overcome the apparent insurmountable and realize the vision of their heart. They do not know the darkness and the heartaches. They only see the light and joy. They call it luck, do not see the long and arduous journey, but only behold the pleasant goal and call it good fortune. Do not understand the process, but only perceive the result and call it chance. In all human affairs there are efforts and there are results, and the strength of the effort is the measure of the result. Chance is not. Gifts, powers, material, intellectual, and spiritual possessions are the fruits of effort. They are thoughts completed, objects accomplished, visions realized. The vision that you glorify in your mind, the ideal that you enthrone in your heart, this you will build your life by. This you will become. I'm not going to lie, that was actually a lot harder than I thought it was to read. I'm glad I listened to the audio book version of this rather than read it. Some hard words in there, I'm not gonna lie. But anyways, this chapter specifically really resonated with me. Now, if you haven't read this book, like I said, I highly recommend it. But the main message that you're going to get out of this book is how the thoughts that you think on a consistent basis matter, and how they impact you and your character and how you show up in the world, and how they affect your life circumstances. And when you become the master of your thoughts, you can transform your life. And the book really encourages people to cultivate and grow positive thoughts and purposeful thoughts, and how your mentality is going to affect how you show up in the world, like I said, and just how you are going to live your life. Now, this chapter specifically clearly goes into detail in terms of like visions and ideals, and how the vision that you hold in your mind means something, and how if you hold that vision in your mind and you hold it in your heart, you're going to experience that vision. And that really resonated with me, because as someone who's pursuing a goal and building what I'm building, I have a vision in my mind of what I see for myself, and I get emotional when I think about it, and I really feel into that vision frequently. And this book was confirmation for me that like, you go where your vision is. Like, this is where you're headed. And if you're someone who has a vision that they keep close to their heart, or they see for themselves in their mind, know that you're headed in that direction of that vision. And if you hold that vision close to you and you take inspired action and you go after that vision, you feel urged to take action and make it happen, even if you don't know exactly like what action to take, if you just act and you connect with the present moment and you really feel into your vision, like, you're going to be guided towards what specific action you should be taking. And although things may not make sense in the moment, you'll be able to look back and see how the dots connected for you. Now, one thing in particular I want to highlight is at the end of this chapter, where he says a lot of people on the outside, people externally, are going to make comments on your success and how you got to the places that you see for yourself, getting to your goals or realizing your unique vision or ideal. And a lot of people are going to say, look how lucky you are, or how highly favored you are. And to go beyond what James Allen says in the book, a lot of people are just going to make comments, period, full stop. A lot of people, whether they be complete strangers or people close to you, are going to make comments on what you are doing. And you just have to block that noise out at the end of the day, because nobody knows what you have to go through in order to realize your vision. The sleepless nights, the hard work, you being tested, your faith being tested, questioning certain things, maybe doubting a little bit here and there, but ultimately coming back, connecting with the present moment and understanding that your vision is meant for you. A lot of people on the outside aren't going to understand your vision. And why should they? It's your vision, not theirs. Even if you try communicating that vision to other people, things are going to get lost in translation because it's your vision. You have to stay true to you and remain true to you through all the ups and through all the downs, through all the highs, through all the lows. As it says in the book here, they do not see the trials and failures and struggles which these men have voluntarily encountered in order to gain their experience, have no knowledge of the sacrifices they have made, of the daunted efforts they have put forth, of the faith they have exercised, that they might overcome the apparent insurmountable and realize the vision of their heart. They do not know the darkness and the heartaches. They only see the light and joy and call it luck. Do not see the long and arduous journey, but only behold the pleasant goal and call it good fortune. Do not understand the process, but only perceive the result and call it chance. A lot of people are going to see what you do and the success that you have, and they don't see the full journey. They don't see all the ups and downs that go into realizing your unique vision. It's just noise, and it's something that I think a lot of successful people experience, and you will too. There's going to be people who, like I said, strangers or people who are close to you who make comments on what you're doing. And you just got to continue to move forward, because people don't know the full story. People don't know how you had to go through ups and downs, like I said, dark times even, potentially, to get you to where it is you see yourself. And On the flip side of that, people are also just not going to understand why you're doing the things that you're doing in the first place, but it's all noise at the end of the day. If you remain true to your vision and you have an ideal that you see for yourself internally, you go where your vision is. As long as you hold on to that feeling and you hold on to your vision and you keep it private and you keep it to yourself and you just let it motivate you from the inside, the actions that you take are going to feel inspired, and you're going to hold yourself to that standard because you know that in order to execute upon this vision, in order to make it a reality, you're going to have to put in some form of effort. And you're going to feel called to act. You're going to feel urged to take action and make things happen because it's what you feel in your heart. The vision that you glorify in your mind, the ideal that you enthrone in your heart, this you will build your life by. This you will become. Hold on to your vision. Have faith in your vision. Trust in your vision. Know that your vision was given to you by God for a reason. Let that give you confidence. Let that propel you forward. And know that some days are going to be really, really challenging. Some days are going to be really hard. You're not going to feel motivated to act. You're not going to want to get up and continue to work forward towards making this vision a reality. And those are the days where you have to remind yourself of why you do the things that you do. Remind yourself of all the work that you've done in the past that helped you be where it is you are. And you just have to take one step at a time and continue to move forward and continue to hold yourself to that standard that you set. And it's not going to be easy all the time, but it's going to be worth it. It's just about being consistent and continuing to hold that vision internally and trusting in that vision and taking action towards making it happen. Because a lot of people, they have a certain vision and they give up on it because they aren't seeing progress. But maybe they're not seeing progress because they're not being honest with their output. They know that they could give more to their vision. And when you pour your all into something and you are yourself and you operate with a pure heart, like good things are going to happen. Good things are going to happen if you do that. So that's really all I wanted to get across in this video or in this recording. I highly recommend this book, As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. It's very short and it's also a very quick listen if you choose to listen to the audiobook version of it. Just remember that the vision that you hold within, the vision that you have in your heart or in your mind, that's where you go. Hold on to that vision, trust in that vision, know that that vision was given to you for a reason, and you wouldn't have been given that vision if it wasn't for you to fulfill that and make it happen. And don't listen to external noise. People just aren't going to understand necessarily why you do the things that you do, or they're going to try steering you off your path. You just have to stay focused and stay disciplined and trust yourself. So I hope you got some value from listening to this. Let me know if you like these kind of recordings where I am reading a chapter from a book that's really resonated with me, or if you just have any comments or questions or recommendations for the kind of things that you would like me to talk about in other recordings. I'll for sure get back to you. I respond to all my DMs, so you can message me on Instagram at Presence of Being or on TikTok. Also, leave a review of the podcast if you've been enjoying these recordings. And if you want to be a part of what we're building here, you can grab a Presence of Being hat at presenceofbeing.co and support the community. Thank you all for being here again. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next recording very soon.